So, welcome to the lesson on active reading. In this PowerPoint, I'm just going to give you a quick review of active reading. Uh, I think most of you have had FY 1011, and in FY 1011, you covered active reading in detail, and you've probably done it as well in your writing courses so far. So we'll just review it. Let's see. Okay. So there are 4 steps in active reading: previewing, establishing a purpose by asking questions, reading and marking text, reviewing. What exactly do you look at when you preview? So basically, you're looking at the organizational structure of the piece. How is the piece organized? How long is it? How is it broken up? Look at the title. Look at the headings and subheadings. Look for bold words and special text. Look for read the introduction and also read the conclusion if you can. Look at the captions to the pictures. Look at charts, graphs, and any other visual aids. And once you've done that, it's time to sort of establish your purpose and ask questions and make predictions that will help you engage with the reading. There's research done on active reading that shows that people who pre-read well are able to move through a reading faster and retain more information. So that first step seems like maybe a waste of time, but it actually does a lot for you. Once you've looked at the piece, what you want to do is start to engage with it by asking yourself what you're going to be asked to do with this. The purpose determines how closely you read. So if you're being asked to write a paper on it, of course you want to read it very carefully if you're going to be tested on it. If you're going to have a discussion about it, all of these different purposes, determine how you actively read your piece. But no matter what the purpose is, begin by asking yourself what you already know about this subject. You'll be activating your background knowledge. Make a prediction based on your pre-reading. You can turn the title into a prediction. You can also ask a question based on the title and the headings. Marking, okay. Once you start to read, it's up to you. Like often students with short readings, and most of the readings that I'm going to ask you to do this semester are going to be pretty short. We'll read through the reading once just for comprehension, and then go through a second time and mark the reading up. You don't always have the time to do that for longer readings, so that's part of like knowing what your purpose is and predicting how much time it will take. Once you do start to mark, what you're doing is highlighting the main ideas and major details, marking vocabulary, circling words you don't know, mark definitions with an asterisk, restate the main idea in the margin. You want to number lists of ideas, causes, and reasons. You want to place brackets around important passages, draw arrows to show relationships, make notes to yourself. Put question marks next to confusing passages. Identifying the main idea isn't always that easy, so I just want to talk about it for a minute. The easiest way to approach this is to look at the paragraph and decide whether it contains a topic sentence. How you look for a topic sentence is by location. So the most common place to find a topic sentence, the directly stated main idea, is at the beginning of the paragraph. The next most common place you're going to find it is at the very end of the paragraph. Occasionally you'll find it, somewhere stashed in the middle of the paragraph. But usually when that happens, it's following a transition word like however, because it's the point that the paragraph is trying to get to. If the paragraph does not have a directly stated main idea, ask yourself what the subject of the paragraph is and what single point the paragraph is making about the subject. Highlight key words and phrases and create a margin note. So you might have some paragraphs that are really, about the chunk that they're in, right? So it may actually illustrate uh, a directly stated main idea that came in a paragraph before, and it's just following that, but it's in its own paragraph. So it can be a little bit tricky, but you should try to margin note most of the paragraphs in a reading. I want to show you some examples. Okay, so this one is from business. You see that the directly stated main idea is in a topic sentence at the very top of the paragraph. It says consumers have certain basic rights that guarantee them fair treatment in the marketplace. And the way the student has margin noted this is by highlighting the keywords that represent these basic rights. So choice, safety, information, a voice, redress, consumer education, right? Another way that you could do this is by, well, let's see. Let me show you that again. So you write your margin note, rights of consumers, that's the topic of this paragraph. Another way that you can do it is by actually numbering what those choices are. And, that would be a slightly different margin note, 6 basic consumer rights, right? Okay, and here's a different paragraph from another type of course. This is like from a history course. Uh, Again, you'll find the directly stated main idea at the top of the paragraph. In England, a group of religious reformers known as Puritans banded together to plan a new settlement. The student has circled the date because that's important information. The name of the colony, Massachusetts Bay, and other important details in the paragraph. And they've written a margin note that says Puritans form a new colony. Right? You don't want to spend too much time trying to think about how to margin note. You want a brief, accurate restatement of the topic, and hopefully actually a complete restatement of the main idea would be the most useful. All right. So after you do this, after you finish your reading, you've thoroughly margin noted it, you can do lots of things with it. If you're studying for a test, you would make 2-column notes, a sweat sheet. You could visualize the information, try to reverbalize and recite it so that you can get it into your long-term memory so you can take a test about it. Create a map or chart, you visual learners. Create a model. Make vocabulary cards, write a summary. Now this last one is really what we'll be focused on in this course. So I'm going to ask you to write a lot of summaries. And if you've actively read your piece well, you'll be able to use the margin notes from your reading to construct a summary. You can also write a reaction that will get you to really engage with the information. And so the second paper that we're going to write is a summary response, and that's basically what you'll be doing based on the readings that we do in the first 2 to 3 weeks of the course. All right, so that is not quite it. Oh, you can see that all of these things can connect. I also just want to talk about the 4 factors that influence reception into short-term memory. This is important to understand, right? The reason that you actively read is to really engage with the reading and keep the information and be able to use it to sort of understand it completely. Whether it actually stays in your memory depends on a number of factors, right? So, obviously, basic background information, what you already know, is going to really help how well you receive this new information, how well you understand it, and how well you remember it, because there's already a place in your memory for information like that where you can sort of file this away. It also depends on your basic comprehension of the piece, your understanding of it. So if the reading is difficult and you're getting stuck, your chances of remembering it as clearly are diminished. Um, your interest in the subject matter, right? Like, how interested are you in this piece? Because if you're not interested, your chances of keeping the information are not as good. Um, and in that case, your intent to remember the information, your motivation to learn this material is critical, right? Those are things to keep in mind as you read, especially if you find that you're struggling with a piece of, a piece that you've been assigned to read, because these things can help you. Okay, I'm going to leave it right there and we'll go on to the exercises.